Good morning everyone, welcome to my channel. Me and my ideas are going to get me in trouble one day. I'm in the laundry. You know how we make our signatures? A one signature journal? Well, I've been working on Lynn's digital prints. And this is a one signature. It's got a lot of pages and whatnot. It's still not finished. So this is book 4 of my journals. These are the prints I'm working on. And I was trying to work out another way to do a cover for these beautiful prints. So, yeah, the prints, look, there's so many. I don't think even these are all of them. I just printed out the ones I could for my work. I love that one. That's my favourite. But look at them, they're just beautiful. So what we're going to do, because it's about covers, not everybody likes these fancy covers. I do, but I also like plain. And plain works well for me. There's my next one in her prints. And so far, I haven't done much. I've just done a little bit of textiles. These pages have been super worked. And I mean super worked. So this journal is going to be more realistic instead of a big signature journal like I did with that last one. So I think I used one signature in 2 of the journals and a couple of hardcovers. So I haven't done much in way of putting the digis in, but there's a couple of them sewn around and whatnot and tagged and whatnot. So that's another one I'm working on for her digis. Now as you can see, this one is pretty wide cover. Look, you can do it as wide as you want, but just make sure that your pages are trimmed. Now in my technique, I've even used paint wash papers. So anyway, because once you start filling up your journal, as you can see there, if you're going to add laces, you're going to need that extra 1/4 inch. So really work on making sure that your cover is wide. I'm just going to show you another technique for covers. So what we're going to do is we're going to, that's the picture for my next journal, but what we're going to do, we're going to wax. We are going to wax our cover. I only seen this technique done once. Now what you've got to do is really heat your paper, or it's not going to work. And you need parchment in between. If you don't have that parchment, this technique's not going to work for you. So I'm only using paper bag. And all you do is rub your beeswax. It's just beeswax on your paper. Either my iron's not too hot, or I'm using the wrong. I use a different iron normally for this type of work, because I get worried that I'm going to wreck my good iron. So I have an old iron, but for today I am using this. So you basically really heat your paper up to melt the beeswax. And I can see that's working, and you'll notice that there is wax working its way into my paper. Look, it's not a long process. It actually takes bugger all time. And like I said, you know, not all of us want fancy covers. Now, I don't want fancy covers all the time either, so I'm just figuring out new techniques for way of using just prints. You can use your digital kits in them, but I just thought this was a better idea for prints. So again, heat your paper because it's not melted enough. I've put a towel down because you don't want to get wax all over your iron. Like I said, you need the parchment because you cannot afford to get this. Look at that. It's working beautifully. And this is just a piece of paper bag. That's all I'm using. A piece of paper bag. It's a little bit thicker than your normal paper. It's the same as what I used on the other covers. Heat it in. You only do one side too. Because we make that mistake of thinking we need it on the other side. I'm telling you, you don't. Because this is nearly done. Because in a cover, I wouldn't go overdoing it. Because you want to be able, I'm just going to check that. No, that's fine. You want your cover to be nice and like you want it to be aged. So if you were to do heaps of wax on it, you're not going to get the aged look. I think I'll just give it a quick zap. I don't want to do too much more because, like I said, I don't want it all the way through. I just want it to go in those creases a bit, and that's it. And I reckon this is going to be done. Now, you want to add more interest to this paper. You don't have to, but I'm going to. Be gentle, because you don't want to wreck the paper. You're just adding interest, that's it. So we'll just quickly, I might iron it before I slap just that little bit more into the creases I made. Just for interest. You don't want too much, like I said, because it's going to just not be as pretty as the others. So then you just give it one more, so your cover straightens up. How cool's that? That's the inside, that's the outside. Now, what you do is really important. You need, well, I buy birch. I don't know what yours is. Shape and create fusible background iron-on. It's adds structure and firm support to garments and for dresses, full skirts, purses, bags, hats and costumes. So you need the stiffer one. So what you do, again, I would use don't use the inside of your parchment, just the outside. Because you don't want, so I've got a bit of fabric. I've cut mine to size already. Oh well, to what size I think it should be. So, you need the rougher side. So turn your garment upside down. I would use the parchment like I said, because you just don't know. Don't want it sticking to your ironing board. Gee, I hope I'm explaining all this right. I don't normally do this sort of stuff, so Actually, I might turn it that way because I want to make sure it's covering there. And I'm just going to steam will make it work quicker. So sorry about the noise, but steam is what's going to make it work. And that will fuse on. It shouldn't take too long. And you know what? I bet you I didn't bring my scissors, but it doesn't matter. Now that should be quite firm now. It should have stuck. Yes, it has. Oh, why didn't I bring my scissors in? Give me 2 seconds and I'll go and get my scissors. I need them. Okay, I'm back. So normally I'll do my trimming as much as possible now on the fusible part because I don't want a lot of overhang. Because you can always trim back after it's all been fused. Maybe it's too much steam, I'm thinking. Normally I don't use the steam on the other iron, and that could be the problem there. But like I said, this will work regardless. So, I hope you can see what I'm doing. Like I said, I'm just lightly trimming. I'm not doing a major job of it. Now, what we need is my parchment. Look, I tell you what, this is your best friend parchment. Honestly, it is your best friend. Use it, because it's ideal. Now, normally, like I said, I would trim my cover to as much as possible, but it's a little bit too hard to trim. I might iron it a little bit more. Just don't want moisture getting into it. And there you go, I forgot. Using my good iron. Look. Use my good iron to iron. So you need your best trusty friend Mod Podge. And you're going to stick your cover on. And honestly, Mod Podge is the best for this, and this is what I recommend you use because it'll adhere in no time and dry in no time. This is what I've been using and it works. Then after an hour or two when it's really dry, then you can sew it. You're probably noticing this cover is smaller. Well, I'm making a traveller's notebook, so that's why this one's smaller. Design tables come in handy, don't they, really? So basically, I just watch a lot of YouTube, and look, I'm always looking for interesting things to do. Where covers are concerned, it all depends on journals I make. And because I've done 2-1 signatures that are super chunky, and I know we all love chunky, but there's a lot of us that don't. Like, I prefer my journals, look, I'll do both, but I must admit I'm a fan of the flatter journal. So yeah, just be generous with your Mod Podge. Right, don't overload, but also give it a good going over, because you've got to remember, this is going on fusible iron stuff, and you need it to be you need it to adhere. I've got to make sure that that is in proportion with my cover. And is it? No. So I want it on the fusible part. And then that way I can trim off the excess after it's dry. So it's okay to make it bigger. Do not get the Mod Podge on the wax paper. I just firmly, and it will stick. Believe you me, it will stick. I've played enough with this. I've got to make sure the fabric's there too. But it doesn't matter because pockets are going to go there. So it does not matter. What matters is that my cover feels nice, like leather. It actually feels like leather. See, all that white will be trimmed off. So don't bother straightening it. And if you've got a sewing machine, once you've trimmed it, so do it slightly bigger. Like I said, if you want to go for a journal that's a bit more bulkier, you need that bit more width in your journal cover. And I'll show you again my one, because that's really important. So I'm doing, we should let that lie flat, because that's going to take a good while to dry. And it needs to, just keep pressing it till it's, see, normally I roll my, use my little roller. So we're going to put that aside. I think it just needs a dab more of the, on one corner. It's painful. I think you think you're done and you're not. Look, and if there's a little lift, just use a tiny bit of glue. Tiny bit of glue. Now, as you've seen before, that one signature is huge. Like, it is a big signature. So that'd be about, I don't know, 160 pages. So this one is much bigger. See the width? So our pages here in Australia are A4. So you can see I gave myself a ½ inch on each side. Those papers have not been trimmed. So that way my journal can grow if I want it to. Because it will. The more pages you'll put in it, the thicker it's going to get. And then it's just working out what to put in the front of your journal. Now, I did have pages that were going to go on that underneath, and I don't know what happened to them. So I'll use one that Lynn sent me. Now, Lynn done layers. As you see here, she's done quite a bit of layers in this picture. She said she got it from one of my ideas. And she put a room for a tag, which is what I done in this journal, which is her gypsy prints. Gypsy Lovers, like I said to you. So I've given this journal room to grow because of the width. Like I said, the width, you got to go by your own size papers. I believe yours are letter size. I'm not sure. Only you guys know that. So anyway, we'll pretend that's the front of the journal. So it looks quite neat. So then you're able to put pockets. Now with this one, you'll notice a slight variation. I used too much wax and I did not use Mod Podge to stick it down. Look at the difference. You've got the leather effect and you also got width for the picture to grow. And you've got your tag coming out of there. So this is basically using, I did this especially just for Lynn's new prints. And I thought it's ideal. Ideal for people who don't want big and bulky. If they want big and bulky, you go wide. So I've allowed myself 2 versions. Now, like I said, I used, not that it looks bad, it just actually looks really good. I used fabric glue for it, but I believe, and it trimmed up well, and it zigzagged well. And see how in the cover I've run a few extra lines of zigzag just to give interest, and it's on here too, just to give a bit of interest. But normally what I do also, when I measure my cover, again it depends on my papers, and if I'm putting lace underneath my journals, I'm not a fan of that. But if you are, again, you've got to allow the length of your lace unless you want it peeking out. Like I only allow 1/8 of an inch bottom and top. They're easy to stitch up. I normally, when I stitch these up, I put holes every 1 inch. And the reason being is, if you're putting, say, a half a page in, you want them stitched in. So that's another thing to be aware of. Go for layers. I mean, layers are really good. Like that's just full of layers. It's probably 3 layers on that, and it's given that nice thickness to it. Tags, because it's a digiprint. Layers, use your machine. You haven't got a machine? Use some Mod Podge. You soon get that effect. That actually goes to the back. I'm a fan of using the sewing machine, so that's a different story. Now, when I make my pockets and I'm using material, so another bit of advice is get your scrapbook paper and glue onto it first using the glue stick. I use the yellow glue stick. I like it, and I iron it on. Again, parchment paper on the top because you don't want to get the iron wrecking your pages. So that's how I did the pockets, and that's how I'll do the rest of the pockets. Same with envelopes. These are made just out of papers. A lot of zigzagging, patchwork. So I hope that's helped you to start off on Lynn's beautiful kit, which is these beautiful prints. Like, they're just gorgeous. And that's what started me on the journey of learning a new technique for a cover. And my journey was doing lots of YouTubing. So thank you to all the YouTubers that contributed to my journey in another form of doing covers. These prints are amazing, 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 amazing. I was showing art, but not, you weren't seeing. Sorry. Just so amazing. And the black and white ones. So that's why I went for this brown cover. That's one of the prints as well. You'll see here, again, I've done layers. And also what I've done, I waxed all these. Even though they got printed on digital print, I waxed them. I wanted the aged effect. The same with the papers, I waxed them. And I also gave them a bit of going over with gesso. Because I didn't want the writing to be out there. Because I want this to look old. I mean, these are so old. So it gives you that beautiful aged look in your journal if you're doing it that way with layers and whatnot. I'm just giving you ideas and little techniques. Part of our Bible journaling, part 7 this is, I trying to help with maybe uses of using digitals. This is photo print digital paper. It's not the real heavyweight one, but because you don't need the real heavyweight, because you're going to back it. You can even use a lighter weight digital print paper, because you're going to back it to tea dyed or to book pages. It won't need that thickness. So I think this will look good, but I'm actually using this one for there. That's why it's prepped. I just haven't decided what to put around there. And like I said, I just want to keep it in the aged look, vintage, because of the prints I'm using. Thanks, Lynn, for your digitals. Thank you, YouTubers, for all of the great ideas you give us, and see you next time. Bye.